let's be real. We've all got them. Photos, important documents, and yeah, probably way too many cat videos. We're creating this digital life every single day. But have you ever really truly stopped to think about where it all goes? This title might seem a little goofy, but backing up your cat videos is actually the perfect way to start understanding a massive, and I mean massive, shift in how our entire digital world is being rebuilt from the ground up.
So you drag a file into the cloud. Where is that really? It sounds so light and fluffy, doesn't it? But the truth is, the cloud isn't floating up in the sky. It's in these giant, power-hungry buildings owned and operated by just a tiny handful of companies. And that, right there, that concentration of power is the core of the problem we're going to talk about.
All right, let's pull back the curtain on this whole centralized model. Because before we can even get into a better way of doing things, we need to get real about the huge, hidden problems with the cloud as we know it today.
I mean, think about it. Most of the internet's data, our data, lives in these enormous server farms run by just a few tech giants. This makes the whole system incredibly fragile. If one data center has a bad day, and trust me, they do, it can take down huge chunks of the services we all rely on. On top of that, we're basically paying a premium for the privilege, and we're just trusting them. We have no real way to verify they're doing what they say they are.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Data is the new oil. It is one of the most valuable resources on the planet. So you have to ask, why are we handing the keys to the entire refinery over to a tiny handful of gatekeepers? Look, this centralized model gave us a lot, but its foundation is shaky, and the price we pay for it just keeps going up.
So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where Filecoin enters the picture. It's an idea that completely flips the script on cloud storage, building a whole new kind of cloud from the ground up.
At its heart, Filecoin is just a beautifully simple idea. As you see here, it's a peer-to-peer network, and that Airbnb for hard drives analogy, it's perfect. If you've got extra storage space on your computer, you can rent it out. If you need storage, you can rent it from a massive global marketplace of people competing to store your data safely and, more importantly, cheaply.
This slide just lays it all out. On the left, you've got the old way, all your data sitting in one big corporate silo. But on the right, you see the Filecoin way. Your data is encrypted, it's chopped up into pieces, and it's spread all across a global network. This makes it incredibly resilient. There's no single server to hack, no single company to pressure into taking your stuff down. It's a system built without a single point of failure.
Okay, a global network of hard drives. That sounds cool, right? But what's actually in it for you? Well, it really boils down to 3 game-changing advantages: making your storage way cheaper, way safer, and maybe most importantly, putting you back in control.
Let's start with the one everyone immediately asks about, the price tag. Because when you get rid of a monopoly and replace it with a global, competitive marketplace, something pretty dramatic happens to the cost.
And the difference is, well, it's staggering. Just look at this chart. Storing 1 terabyte with a standard service like Amazon S3 is going to run you about $23 a month. On Filecoin, because you have thousands of providers all competing for your business, that exact same terabyte can cost as little as $2. That's not a small discount. We're talking a potential 80 to 90% drop in your storage costs.
But it's not just about the money. You get something even more valuable: control. You get to choose who stores your data. Want it stored in a specific country for legal reasons? You can do that. Want to find the absolute cheapest provider? Go for it. And the best part? Your deal isn't buried in some 50-page legal document. It's a verifiable, automated contract on the blockchain. It's simple. Your data, your rules.
Okay, but how can you possibly trust a stranger on the internet with your important files? This is where the real cryptographic magic comes in. First, the network uses something called proof of replication. Think of it like this. The provider has to take a unique, unfakeable photo of your data to prove they have an actual copy. Then, the system uses proof of spacetime to randomly ping them, thousands of times asking, "Hey, show me that photo again." This constant automated check proves your data is still there, safe and sound, second by second.
So we've got cheaper, safer, user-controlled storage. That alone is a huge deal. But the vision here is so much bigger. This isn't just about replacing your Dropbox account. It's about building the literal foundation for a whole new internet.
This new internet is often called Web 3. The core idea is simple: an internet that's owned and operated by its users, not a handful of giant corporations. But you can't build a user-owned internet if all the data is still sitting in corporate-owned data centers. You need a neutral, decentralized foundation for all that data. And that's exactly the role Filecoin was designed to fill.
And this isn't some far-off futuristic dream. It's happening right now. Filecoin is already the backbone for this new web. It's what's locking in the permanence of digital art and NFTs. It's hosting decentralized apps that can't be shut down by a single company. It's laying the groundwork for the insane storage needs of the metaverse, and it's letting businesses take back true ownership of their most critical data.
Now, it's easy to get really excited about this vision, but we also have to be realistic. This is a brand new frontier, and like any new technology, there are absolutely challenges to overcome. So let's take a balanced look at the road ahead.
The pros, as we've seen, are massive. Huge cost savings, true user control, and an incredibly resilient network. The trade-offs, for now, are mostly around ease of use. It's not yet a one-click simple process like Google Drive, and retrieval speeds can vary a bit depending on who you choose. These are the classic growing pains of a network that's still maturing and figuring things out.
And that really is the key takeaway here. Filecoin isn't trying to replace the cloud overnight. What it's doing is building a fundamentally different choice, an option that is more open, more efficient, and most importantly, an option that puts the power back where it belongs with you, the user. The hurdles it faces today aren't signs of failure. They're the signs of building something that has literally never existed before.
And that brings us to the final question. The internet is changing, and with it, the very foundation of how we store our digital lives is changing too. The question is no longer just where your cat videos are, but who's in control of them. So, let me ask you, is your data ready for the new internet?